Hi, you've reached What's on Scott's Mind. It is March 16th, 2026. And as always, I start Monday off before work with a What's on My Mind. And as always, it's a meandering, wandering, looking at Scott's ugly mug, trying to figure out what's on Scott's mind. One of the things not on my mind is shaving, because I'm kind of not shaving right now. I'm kind of shaving, not shaving, depending on kind of where I am and whether or not I have to go into the office. If I have to go in the office, I shave. But if I don't have to go in the office, I don't shave. Um, anyway, as projected, Indiana University did not make the NCAA men's basketball tournament. I kind of knew they wouldn't. Um, I kind of knew they wouldn't when they lost to Northwestern. It was, I thought the first time they lost to Northwestern, I thought they were out. Um, but it's sad. I spent most of my childhood with IU in the tournament every year, even in the days when you had to be the champion of the Big Ten to be in the tournament, where you didn't just get to be in the tournament because you wanted to be. There weren't 64 teams, there were 32. So it was the champion and then the runner up in the conference that usually went for the 32 teams, including the at large bid. So that's what I grew up with. And I miss being in the NCAA tournament. I don't miss being in the tournament. That's not true. We've been in the tournament a few times over the last few years. I miss being in the tournament with a chance to win. You got to have a chance to win in order to feel like you are going to be successful. And so, um, you know, Indiana University soccer set a record of the most consecutive, Sweet 16 runs in the NCAA soccer tournament. It's a record that is likely not to ever be broken. It was 16 or 18 or 20 straight until this year. That they made the final Sweet 16 or better in every tournament. That's not likely to be equaled. If it is equaled, then more power to the university that does. It's just difficult. It is difficult to maintain excellence for many, 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 many years. So I miss IU basketball being that, excellence, that standard bearer. I do like the new coach. I think he has a good chance of getting IU to the place where they will be successful. Um, and because of that, I do have hope for next year. But like anything, it's going to depend, and the it depends part is painful, um, because frankly, like anything, you got the aspiration at the beginning of the year, and then things happen. Um, I know when, and shame on me for not believing in him, but when IU hired Kurt Signetti as the football coach, I didn't have a lot of confidence that IU was going to suddenly explode. Um, I didn't. I'm a believer now. I was a believer after Game 6 of his first year, when we were 6-0 the first time. That to me, that was a change, a significant change for IU football. And so I'm hoping that happens with basketball. I do like the coach, and I do think he's a good person. And if anybody deserves it, Darren DeVries deserves it. So I'm hoping that it happens for him. It's going to involve a couple of years of good recruiting. Hopefully next year we get back to the tournament. The year after that we do better in the tournament, so on and so forth, and get IU back to prominence. But, as a fan, I have always backed teams that didn't do particularly well. I'm a Cubs fan. I'm a Bears fan. I'm a Bulls fan. I'm a Blackhawks fan. And there are many years in there where, you have losing records. It's not like the Detroit Lions that haven't won a championship in, 50 years or more. But 1985 is beginning to be a long time ago. It's what, 41 years ago. So it's a long time ago. I still remember it vividly. Walter Payton was still alive. Walter Payton was still the running back of the Bears. So, that part of that reality to me was awesome. Um, I enjoy that. That is part of what I am. And obviously the Blackhawks won, in the late 2009, 2010, 2011 time period. So, I've got a recent one there. The Bulls won back in the 90s with Michael Jordan. Those were amazing teams, and I loved watching them. And you know, my allegiance my allegiance is always to Chicago sports teams. Obviously, being born in Chicago, it's important to me. I love Chicago sports teams. I've been to games for most of the major Chicago sports team. I've been to a Bears game, been to the Cubs. I've been to a White Sox game. I had to be kicked and dragged. I have been to a Chicago Fire game. I've been to a Bulls game. So I've been to the team's games. My favorite is Wrigley Field, and watching a baseball game at Wrigley Field. But it is just, I miss IU basketball being something that was critical. Anyway, you reached What's on Scott's Mind. Have a great week.